Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And my oh my, me oh me, dragon, it seems we have found ourselves lost aboard the mysterious Infinity Train Spoilercast! Cast! Goes on, and for miles, it's like the Energizer Bunny dragon. It just keeps going and going and going.
And going and going and going.
All right, so in all seriousness, dragon, Cartoon Network, it's fair to say, it's kind of in a transitional time period right now. Of course, Nickelodeon, they've kind of leaned towards their nostalgic side. They also have a hit on their hands with Loud House. SpongeBob is still going strong. I've heard decent things about modern SpongeBob. I haven't checked any of it out yet, but fair to say, Nickelodeon is kind of on their feet. Disney is a little bit hit or miss. I feel like most of the big Disney shows that are coming out are sort of retiring nowadays, like the stalwarts, the Star versus Forces of Evil of the world. But of course, you still have DuckTales in there to take its place, and there's probably Disney is probably gearing up for a Disney afternoon cinematic like universe type deal. Dragon, there's definitely hints of that, with the Darkwing Duck show probably is the second leg of that. So it's fair to say that out of the three major kids networks, Cartoon Network is the one that's kind of in the identity crisis mode, because of course the big meme about Cartoon Network was, oh, it's only the channel that plays Teen Titans Go. And Dragon, I'm honestly well past that. I honestly think that it's just the fact that Cartoon Network, for some reason, and this happens with all networks every now and again, because they hit a point where regular show ended its run, Adventure Time ended its run, Gumball ended its run, and all these shows went out relatively gracefully, but these shows all went out around the same general time period, and these shows were kind of the stalwarts of the channel at that point. And what we're left with is, well, pretty much a lot of Teen Titans Go, and I honestly don't know what else. We Bear Bears, I guess, is still on the air. I've heard good things about
That
it.
looks really good. I keep wanting to get into it. I forget if I have to go through Hulu to watch that or what. The point being, it looks really good.
So my point is, Dragon, not since Over the Garden Wall has Cartoon Network made something that's really blown my mind. And Infinity Train, it's pretty much there. It's pretty much there. Dragon. The only reason why I say this isn't quite up to Over the Garden Wall, and Over the Garden Wall I consider to be the best thing that Cartoon Network's ever done, is honestly because I've only watched this once. And I can tell there's a lot of depth to this. There's a lot of layers to this thing. I can fully expect this thing to be neck and neck with Over the Garden Wall once I have explored it more in depth and studied it more thoroughly. So today was my first watch of it all the way through. I basically treated it as a movie, and I was thoroughly entertained throughout it. Dragon, I think the character development is absolutely on point. The animation is ridiculously clever. The settings, I mean, all of it is really good. I love the character design. I love the voice work. Like I said, it's just Over the Garden Wall is something that I just have a particular attachment towards. And this is very much in the same vein of Over the Garden Wall, being a 5-night event with with 2 episodes airing per night, and the 10-minute episodes. It's very much structured to be like the spiritual successor to Over the Garden Wall in a way, which you need to watch. You need to watch. But I digress. So suffice to say, Dragon, this is definitely it's on the same level. I just have more of an attachment to the one that came first, the forefather of these Cartoon Network miniseries. So I'm not quite ready to say it's better than Over the Garden Wall, but I do think it's kind of on that same level of quality. I think everything about Infinity Train pretty much fires on all cylinders. I do kind of, I am one of the few people that's not really stoked about the idea of more of this show, just because I feel like season 1 tied up in a really good, satisfying way with all the characters. So unless you want to just have an entirely new set of characters, then I don't know how you would go about that. But we'll see. We'll we'll discuss that as we go along. So, what did you think of Infinity Train, Dragon? Did you enjoy your ride?
I did.
Okay.
I've now ridden the Infinity Train, not as many times as Tulip has, but I've seen it 3 times at this point.
Nice.
I'm head
Nice.
over heels for this. I love this. I I guess I'd best describe it as, and I'm sure the Garden Wall thing fits that because I've been Garden Wall mainly by you, but it's been recommended to me. So I mean, I keep
It's a
meaning to.
masterpiece. It's
I'm
a
sure
masterpiece.
I'm sure it is, especially with kind of the short form, like kind of the limited, run, kind of run. Sorry, the limited. Again, basically
The
the
miniseries.
mini-series format of it. I don't know what I was.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, the mini-series of it all, I'm sure complements it. I'm sure makes it kind of in that masterpiece vein. I mean, the best comparison I have from what stuff I have seen is that this feels like a more calculated Steven Universe to me.
It does. It does. Totally. It feels more calculated. It feels a little bit more mature. This is kind of the same direction I'm hoping that the Steven Universe movie goes in, tackling some mature themes like this in a more calculated way.
It's like if Steven Universe were a mini-series, it would be something like this. That's
Sure,
kind of what I
sure.
got with this. That's the thing. This absolutely benefits from the short form of it all, and I echo a lot of your sentiments there. It's a solid mystery within itself. There are a lot of great clues on the rewatch. Just take my word for it on that vein.
Oh yeah,
It's
I'm sure.
it's very creative. It's very imaginative. What I love most about this, I got to be honest, like the thing that really makes it hold up on the rewatch for me, and there's even the first time, I knew this was going to be, hey, this will be something different, it'll be something kind of neat. And I was watching the first episode, I was completely blown away. Oh my god, it's even better than I thought it was going to be. Because I remember going back to the pilot and then being a little unsure. I mean, I thought, hey, this is good. I want to see more of this. But on the rewatch, it's like, man, I really want to see where they're going with the story on this. And of course, having seen where they went with the story on it, I wasn't disappointed.
Okay, yeah, I got to admit, with me, I thought the pilot was fine. I thought the premise showed potential. I got to admit, I wasn't blown away by the pilot the same way a lot of other people were.
And that's the
It's like,
thing.
yeah, yeah. So go
In the
ahead.
first watch, it was like something different, and it was something like, okay, let's see where they're going with this. And on the right turn to the pilot, it's like I wasn't as sold on it as I was the first time. Like, hey, again, you're sold on the premise, but you're not. I don't know. The point is they refurbished the pilot within things here, which we'll get to, and just kind of seeing how they refurbish things and kind of seeing it as kind of part of the grander wholes. I think the end result is just it's tremendous. It's wonderful. I love the dialogue in this. The dialogue's really smart. It's really witty. It's one of those natural things I've seen in animations. Like, it's such a natural voice performance, and the dialogue just feels real, and everything just feels so grounded in a show that features an infinite train. It's wonderful.
Right, right.
I'm definitely beaming over this show, man. I am. It's great.
Okay, cool, cool.
All right.
It's good to see Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon both doing well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, TK, I gotta be honest. Like nowadays, I've recently I've been kind of landlocked on Cartoon Network on things. Not that I've been watching it, all the live long day. It's just like sometimes you just have like a channel playing in the background. For the most part, it's been Cartoon Network recently. And I tell you, at times it's mental torture with Teen Titans Go playing 24/7 during the day. It is. 'Cause every time it's like I'm watching just a little snippet of it before like I mute it or I go on to other things. Like, oh god, I hate this show so much. And I do. I
That was a pretty decent movie.
I gotta tell you, is every time that series plays, it's like every time it's like I give like a sliver of my attention. It's like, oh
Oh
god,
God.
it's just it's every time it's
All
not.
right,
It's like
it's not Modern Family Guy, Dragon. Okay.
that's what I'm saying. It's like not as it's not as soul crushing as that, but it's like still, it's like, oh man, why? Just come on, why? Why is it all like? Does it need to play all day?
Yeah, that is a problem, of course.
Okay, but in all seriousness, I guess like the overall sales, like I wish we had more programming like this in lieu, or at least breaking up the constant stream of Teen Titans Go. But anyway, enough of the Titan bashing. Let's get on to talking about Infinity Train. What we're going to do here, folks, is kind of discuss kind of an overview of the episodes as kind of each installment one about. And of course, we'll remind you it was kind of a nightly event of basically 2 episodes per night for 5 nights.
Hmm.
All right, so let's start off.
And also, Dragon, are you watching the chat? Because it seems like there's at least one other person in there besides you.
I'm watching.
Okay, cool, cool. Just making sure. Okay, so let's start things off with episode 1, The Great Car. All right, so Dragon, I want you to forget for a second about all the, the genre hopping and different art designs and limitless story potential that the Infinity Train concept provides. And I want you to think about just how amazingly effective the intro to Tulip really is through those first 5 minutes. I mean, Dragon, I'm sure you appreciate it, going back on the rewatch. And I did watch this episode a couple times, so I've also soaked in kind of the, kind of just how efficient it is. It's just like we have the conversation with the friend. We see Tulip's definitely uncomfortable with talking about the divorce. We have the insanely realistic, you know, conflict of the parents just not scheduling things out to take her to the game design conference or whatever she's going to. I'm sorry, is it a convention or what? Like a
No,
school?
it's a camp. It's a camp.
A camp,
It's a
right?
game.
Right, a camp. I'm sorry, a camp.
Game
Yes,
design
that's the
camp.
terminal. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. I'm sorry. Anyway, so basically, we get all these little details of her life. Just these harsh realities of the divorce, how it's hitting her emotionally, and we see her in her comfort zone, developing the game, but something beckons her, Dragon. Something beckons her across the horizon, and she just has to, she kind of can't resist, much like all great protagonists who can't resist the call of adventure. She's out there and she's heading towards it, and that's where we get the title Infinity Train after 5 minutes. Dragon, I love that. I think it's such efficient storytelling. The fact that we were able to spend those 5 minutes developing our protagonist and doing it in such an organic way.
Yes, that's what's so wonderful about this, where we have we don't need all the information. Like I just love how we're again the mystery element of it all is just so wonderful. How we're kind of piecing together everything we need to know about Tulip within that little introduction. Like she's clutching she's a girl who eats onions. So I love it. We just have these unusual details about Tulip. She's into game coding. She eats onions. She writes contracts up with her parents to, to make sure that she gets to go to a game design camp, that sort of stuff. And again, she feels really the world that basically the cell of our world for this show feels very lived in, feels very authentic. Just this a kid dealing with a major shift in status quo, as in many kids who come from divorce, I'm sure feel. Where like the clutching of the onion, the mention of we're spell out just enough exposition before it becomes exposition. Or her friends making conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Again, really natural kid conversation where it's like, hey, why it's kind of strange seeing you're not your father's not there. Like, does he visit? Like asking kind of kids asking questions like, no, I don't know what divorce is like. What's it like? Without, and of course, Tulip just having a hard time. Like all those little touches go a long way, and I love the frustration in adapting things within the parents' space of the whole inciting incident. Well, she can't go to game design camp because her parents have kind of had a faux pas with the scheduling here. Where her father, basically, of course, divorce, kind of the divorcee relationship. You have scheduling, when one parent kind of interjects into the other.
Daddy's got to work overtime so mommy can feel good about his quarterly earnings.
Okay, Rugrats references aside, no, in all seriousness, it's the fact, of course, it's just figuring out the scheduling of, mother works 24 hours at the hospital, and then the father kind of screwed up the days, therefore she can't get a ride to camp, and therefore, again, destiny calls her. She runs away from the status quo. She's uncomfortable with trying to maintain a sense of stability, trying to maintain, okay, I want this, I will do it on my own because I can't rely on my parents anymore.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So then so of course now she hops her way onto the train and she's kind of like
Can I just just quickly point out those it goes by really fast, but those backgrounds of her walking in the woods are just incredible.
They are, and of course like the lighting, the green lighting's really enticing. I don't know what it is. Like there's green lighting all over this place. Of course the obvious.
It's kind of like the Infinity Train is like the more inviting version of Hey Arnold's Haunted Train.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. What if you took the Haunted Train mixed with the Polar Express? Just kind of mix the two together.
Right, exactly. God.
Right. Oh, by the way,
now I want to see a theme park with now I want to see Universal up their game, because we have Epic Universe. What if Universal had different movie trains taking us to Epic Universe? Like the Hogwarts Express, and then the Infinity Train, and then the Polar Express. Could you imagine that scenario?
Right.
Like your only mode of transportation to Epic Universe is through trains, famous trains. The Back to the Future time travel train. I'm sorry, I'm getting off point. Go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah, I do echo your point though. Aesthetically, I think the show overall is just really pleasing, really refreshing. So really well kind of realized. You know, the character designs, the art style, the whole shebang. And also, real quick with Tulip, because of course she's our titular character, voiced by Ashley Johnson. Now, Ashley Johnson, she currently has a show where she's on Blind Spot. You know, Jamie Alexander's show. You know, Lady Sif from the Thor movies. So she has a show. You know, the one with all the tattoos and everything. That one.
Mhm.
And as the hacker of the show, kind of the friendly hacker, kind of like, you know, kind of the Felicity of the gang, if you will. That's Ashley Johnson. Of course, the thing I know Ashley Johnson for right instantly before that show, even,
Oh God.
she's she has a very memorable part in Avengers. She's the waitress in Avengers. She's the Captain America saved my life.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh God. Oh dear.
I remember even the deleted scene in that where Stan Lee had a different cameo in Avengers where Steve Rogers was like waiting outside of Stark Tower and she was waiting on him. And she kind of took a fancy to Captain America and just kind of struck up some conversation. Oh yeah, sometimes you get to catch Iron Man flying out of the tower, and then Stan Lee goes over, like looks over to him and says, "Can't you see she?" Ask her out, you moron. Basically, just tells Captain America, "Ask her out, you moron." Anyway.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, point being that I have some familiarity with the Ashley Johnson guy. I looked up, like, that voice is so familiar. I just can't place it. I looked it up, like, oh my god, it's her. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Anywho,
yeah.
okay, so let's get into the train of it all. So she's on the train, like the first car is like this giant. You know, she's trying to get to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where the game is on campus. She ends up on the train, and it's this giant winter wonderland. This snowman train, if you will, snowman car, if you will. She starts off, and of course,
Snowman.
Anyway, so of course she meets another big titular character of the show. She meets One.
This character is just freaking amazing, like for comic relief. He's Dragon, you know, I've always like kind of held a distant fondness for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I know, I had the same thing. It's the same, yeah.
I like Hitchhiker's Guide. I don't love it, and honestly, kind of like the cult fandom surrounding it is kind of Doctor Who like, and almost kind of turns me off to it a little bit. But yeah, 1-1 is very clearly Marvin, and I honestly think he's I don't want to say he's a better Marvin, but he's definitely a more likable Marvin. And of course, Marvin isn't meant to be likable in the first place, but yeah, 1-1 is clearly in that sort of mold of Marvin the robot.
I don't fully agree with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy kind of a sentiment, but I absolutely agree. Like, the first thing I thought when I saw him way back during the pilot was, oh my god, it's Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Right, for sure.
And he just got even better. I really liked that character. Honestly, I think deep down that character for me was the sell of the series, even going to the pilot. And I feel like just seeing him fully here, and it's like, this is where I'm talking about with the dialogue here, because these are the introductions. This is where I'm falling.
Oh, the dialogue on this character is amazing. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be just a ton of quotes around him that are going to circulate.
So let me just tell you the instance of the very first line he has. Just to me is like what, and it was where I was already kind of liking the show now, so I fell in love with it. It's like yes. Where of course she's going by messing with the snowman. She's gonna walking through there, and then of course the third one, it's him. They both like scared you. Like, are you my mom? What? Am I your what? It's just the panic, and then like just being it's such an off-putting question. Like, are you my mom? It's just her instant like questioning of this while she's scared. I love it. Am I your what? What?
Dare I say, it kind of reminds me of the infamous Chick Hogan exchange, Dragon.
In a sense, yes.
I'm writing a book.
About what? You see what I mean?
I'm curious, even though I'm really angry.
But you see what I mean? It's just really wonderful right off the bat. And of course, I don't know if you know this, but so apparently there's a way to delineate which one is one. So you have sad one and glad one. That's what their names are apparently.
Mm.
Anyway, so of course I think.
And also another line of dialogue that's great right after that is Sad One's just like, when Tulip says, "No, I am not I am not your mother," and then Sad One's just like, "Oh, well then you've come to release us with the sweet release of death." No, not that either. Neither of those things.
Okay, so obviously, so Sad One's very much the Marvin persona, and
Oh,
Glad
of
One is
course.
just Glad One's just delightful as all get out. Just Glad One
Glad
is
One is
just
kind of like Pinky-esque a little
yes,
bit.
and I can see that. I didn't think of that, and I don't know if I fully agree with it. I absolutely see where you're coming from.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing. Like, we have this we also have these great runners where we have like, oh, just like what is this? Like, with one, how are you doing this? Oh, just.
I don't
Of
know.
course, I think we some of the great one of the great Marvin-esque deliveries here was she's just like basically he just kind of realizes he isn't like, what are you anyway? Like, I'm not a toy. What are you then? Oh, I don't know what I am. Just I love the runner of the existential crisis that rears its head now and again with
Right,
Sad
right.
One. It's just oh, it's just very funny, and just like I love the animation on this little ball with the two eyes and like the little adorable little feet. It's just awesome, man. I'm
I
a
mean,
big
just
gusher
through
all
and
day.
through, this show probably has some of the best character designs I've seen in a long time on any animated show, honestly.
You said it, buddy boy. You said it.
All right.
We have a really good dynamic with them. Of course, it's very inventive with the whole infinite cards idea, where we just see like all these cards are basically like it's an infinite space within the cards. I knew there was going to be like a location within each car. I didn't know how quite it was going to be visualized. Or basically, you go through one door to the other door. And I love the Infinity logo, by the way. It's like you have like one. Basically, you have like one circle, but it doesn't. It's not symmetrical. You know what I mean? It's kind of inverted symmetrical. It's really good design work on like the logo for the series as well. It's really nice. Like all the
Mhm.
doors have that logo on it. Anyway, so let's see. So then we get to the grid car. The grid car is really inventive too. With the idea, it's kind of like it's kind of a mix for like the piano from Big, even though we do literally have the piano from Big in another episode. We have that basically like these blocks kind of pop out when you touch a grid, and that kind of it's a musical thing. It's really inventive, really cool.
You know what it very much reminds me of, Dragon?
What?
The original Journey into Imagination,
I guess it does. Yeah.
especially like the image work stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course, the big thing here is we set up the leech roach things. I think there's
Oh
called
yeah,
roaches.
that's really really good setup right there.
I think they're just called roaches, but I keep calling them like a leech roach because the idea is like when these things catch up to you, they suck away your youth. So again, it's kind of playing with the concepts of time and infinity. It's really fascinating. The whole it will suck up. Basically, in theory, I mean, I don't know how age works on this tree. I don't know if you'd be able to kind of maintain a fountain of youth quality or not. But I think the idea is even whatever's going on there, because again, there are months past during this thing. But again, in terms of aging, and I don't know. Again, you wouldn't exactly age radically in months, so we can't really tell.
Uh-huh.
But the point being, like these things, when they catch up to you, they kind of suck the life from it. It's a really kind of horrifying effect. I got to be honest. I love the fact that we never get to see these things fully in the light, even though when the lighting's very obviously on them, they're always in shadow and it's creepy.
Do you know what Dementors are in the Harry Potter universe?
I've heard the name. I do not know.
Okay, they're the guards of the wizard prison, and if they get close to you, they kind of suck the life out of you. They're like these cloaked, demon-looking figures. They kind of look like ring wraiths.
Okay.
And yeah, they this whole concept very much reminded me of the Dementors for sure.
Of course, we also put forward the by the way, the Benny Hill gag's hysterical. It's just funny.
I'm going to play some music to set the mood.
Anyway, so of course, then we also put forward the mystery of the number on the hand, and of course, is where we get into the adventure to find the conductor so we can get off this crazy train. I love the marketing that we're able to use the Crazy Train song, by the way. It's just perfect.
Right.
And of course, we
Hey,
end
the
on the
Crazy Train. That could be another train that takes guests to Universal's epic universe.
sure. Speaking of, also we have I love that we end on the Infinity Shower. Basically, so we got to get to the conductor. Who's going to be in the engine car, which is all the way there. And again, it's like it's the jest of like it's an infinite train. Therefore, you'll never be able to get to the to the first car. It's a great, daunting last shot.
Oh yeah.
All right, that brings us to episode 2.
All right, episode 2, the beach car. So this introduces us. Let's see. Well, where do we start out? Because the episodes kind of have a format where
Yeah.
we kind of start at like the end of one adventure. You know what I mean?
Yes, we're always kind of like, yeah, you're right. We kind of in the middle of basically per it being an infinite being in an infinite train, therefore there's all these cars and basically going to come out of one adventure at the start of every episode. This is the device of the wrap up per car. Like there's the adventures have been going on even since you've seen the previous episode, and it kind of also adds to the passage of time. So it's the like she's been doing this for a while and going through all these cars trying to figure out what the deal with the number on her hand is.
All right, so remind me where we go before we hit the actual beach car.
God, I'm trying to. I have it noted for most of the episodes. Just I'm trying to remember what this one was. Oh, right, no, this was the word card. This remember we had like the giant crossword puzzle at the start of this one.
Oh yeah, right.
So the idea was that we saw one. So the theme of this episode is you sticking by your friends despite them setting you back. And the idea is that we see one getting in the way of certain tasks and certain because the idea like of course her being a game coder and just kind of like she's very witty. This girl, she reads up a lot of stuff. She really she's very much like a puzzle solver. I really love that quality about her as well. And that's kind of that's kind of her strength in a lot. She has to kind of solve a moral or kind of solve like a physical puzzle of some variety. So she's like doing a crossword puzzle. They have to make their way through like these really interesting looking wizards. I think they said they were wizards, but like these things that it's just like, oh my god, it's wizards all over the place. They have to run away. So stuff like that. And that brings us ultimately to the beach car. And the beach car in itself is kind of this nice, kind of leisurely kind of location, and we meet the cat.
Okay, Dragon, I'm just gonna put it out there right now. If you like the cat, then I can guarantee you'll like Over the Garden Wall because she is the thing that reminded me the most out of any of this. She's the thing that reminded me the most of Over the Garden Wall.
So Kate Mulgrew does the voice of the cat. Now, bear in mind, I'm not a huge Trek guy, but she was Janeway, I believe, in one of the spin-off. I believe the spin-off after the Next Generation.
I think it was Enterprise.
Yeah, you're probably. I'm sorry, you're right. But yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the thing. So she was Captain Janeway. One of the she kind of took over. It was kind of I believe the first female captain they had in the whole Enterprise series. I'm not sure. Point being, she does the voice acting.
We're not Trekkies, folks. Forgive us.
Yeah, sorry about that. I respect the heck out of it, particularly Next Generation, but I know nothing of it. Except I know it ends on poker. I know that much. Anyway, I know that. I know the Orville is kind of recapturing the magic. That's about all I know, and I love John Delancey. Okay, I can count on one hand. Anyway, getting off track. Point being, Kate Mulgrew, she does an excellent Eartha Kitt impression in this show. She feels very Eartha Kitt-esque.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, definitely.
I hope that's intentional, because if not, it's just a remarkable coincidence. Oh my god, it sounds identical. If Eartha Kitt were reincarnated, it would be in this character.
But what I love about this character is that she obviously seems very nefarious, but by the same token, I feel like there's always something lurking in the back of your head where it's like, is she all bad, or like, what's her deal? You know what I mean? Like, she's very much a morally gray character.
Yeah, she's the scam artist, but has kind of it's like, what if you had like a cunning scam artist, like versus your usual.
So what if DJ in The Last Jedi was actually good?
Maybe. You know what I mean? Like, what if you had like basically this is kind of like a sneaky Pete con artist. If you were believing me to watch that show, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of like you have
I've watched enough of that show to know what you're talking about.
I didn't know how far
episodes.
Oh, it's good. I didn't know how far it got.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I'm not very far. I don't think I'm past the first couple episodes, but I know enough to know the basic premise.
Well, I heard it got canceled, so basically, if you were to watch it only has 3 seasons, so you'd be able to catch up fully.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, getting back on point here. My point is, this is kind of like your scam artist. Again, there's definitely a charm and there's a charisma there, and again, it's kind of you have the cunning of a cat here, where she's like, again, there's a very kind of like there is almost like a soothing quality to the performance, where it's like she's very complimentary, and again, it's like, oh man, she's awfully pleasant, this cat, and of course, she's very much. I love it. It's just a very obvious con, though. It's like, we're gonna sell donut holders, which are basically pipes that we're selling. Is like, you can make a donut out of anything with this very obvious. Again, basically it's like a very it's like a scam artist is really terrible at the sell, but she makes up for it with the cunningness of a cat.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, we meet Randall.
Yeah, Randall is a very, very fun one episode character in this show.
Yes, Randall. Oh, and okay, so Randall is voiced by Reese Darby. Now, Reese Darby, he's done other things. I think the thing you and I think a lot of people probably recognize him for is he's the happy Jumanji greeter in the new Jumanji movie. He's the
Oh, okay. Yeah,
welcome
yeah,
to
yeah.
Jumanji. It's that
I
guy.
believe his name is Nigel Inglehorn or something
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's
that.
right. Nigel. It was Nigel something. Yeah, Nigel Inglehorn.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's
that's
something.
that's
Don't quote me on the Inglehorn. I'm sure it's Nigel. It's like something British, very British sounding. Anyways,
one being the happy welcome to Jumanji guy. That guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
As
That's
Randall.
honestly one of my favorite new characters in Jumanji is that guy.
Seriously,
Anyways,
I mean, this Randall character is delightful. I love like the whole. I like the little water cooler effect within the gelatinous water guys. It's really cool. It's just like, and of course, I just love how friendly he is. And of course, he can multiply himself, and in multiplying himself, he's just just like having, oh, I like to build Team Randall. Basically, he's building a pyramid scheme, and like of all the characters to help build a pyramid scheme, you want a character who can divide himself. It's like the ending of the other guys with the
oh
with a little
God.
credit. Basically, in the other guys, the credit scene, basically, they show you what a Ponzi scheme is, and they show you the visual aid while the credits are rolling. It's
Oh,
kind of like
okay,
it shows you the
gotcha.
division, like literally like how a pyramid scheme works visually. It's very
Uh-huh.
seriously the other guy's Tiki. That's it. Anyway,
Yeah, it's on my catch-up list. I haven't gone to it yet, but it's on the list.
anywho, the point being, I think the big theme of the episode we were kind of getting at with the Randall and everything of it all here is that we're playing with the question while we're doing all that. We're playing with the question of like what the number means and the paranoia, and it's like, oh god, is it going down? And one kind of wigs her out into thinking like, oh god, that means you'll be gone forever. Now, what's so interesting on a rewatch, Tiki, is that remember, 1-1 has a very pivotal role, which we'll get to a few
Of
episodes from
course.
now. But again, 1-1
Yeah.
might know a little bit more than he knows here, so he might have actually known at this point that when the number goes, you get to go
Once the
home.
number goes down, that's spoiler alert, folks. Once the number reaches zero, again, spoilers, that's when you do get to go home. Indeed, that's when your portal shows up and you get to go back to the real world.
Absolutely, and again, Tiki, going into this, like again, then I was on the mind. Okay, it's either like a countdown, or it's either a countdown to go home, or it's a countdown till you're stuck there forever. You never know.
Right, right.
So, we're kind of playing with the paranoia of that and the whole of the no thumbs runner. It's kind of funny. It goes through the whole thing, especially with the cat. I do it myself, but and we have like this sad, pathetic shot of like the insert of like of the paw. It's like no thumbs. Just a few kind of aesthetic things here. I mean, like the shuttlecraft's really cool. It's just this shuttlecraft that basically has like this magnetic button that basically you fire like a thimble, and it magnetically like launches you from one point to the other point on the train if you were to ride it from the top instead of riding through the car. Really good world building stuff here.
Yeah.
We saw one other thing we saw about the namesake of Tulip. Why she's named after the flower, the arbitrary flower gag. We learned that she was these are the details I'm talking about. These are the details you were talking about earlier. Just to really add like a richness to the show, where it's like she had complications at birth, but she kind of sprung back like a flower. And therefore, they named her
Right,
after a
right,
flower.
right.
And also she's gifted a flower by 1-1. Of course, it's kind of like a valuable gift in his eyes and everything. It's just really those little nice touches. They really go a long way. And anyway, she kind of makes things up, and she kind of values 1-1. The adventure goes on, as it were.
I mean, this
Yeah.
show just is not afraid to just like really address, issues like that just head on in a very, in a very unapologetic way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like that kind of stuff does happen. It is real world. The real world isn't a fairy tale.
That brings us to episode 3.
Episode 3, this one will probably go by pretty quick because it's essentially a rerun of the pilot with a few minor details added in.
Yeah, like for example, like basically they made cosmetic changes to this one, where basically they had the fancy. They were trying to figure out what the doors were in the pilot. Where now it's like, okay, we know exactly how the doors were. You turned the cool looking logo and everything. Tulips had a redesign. She had these really thick Coke bottle glasses. Now she has just kind of like regular glasses. They're like little aesthetic changes here. We got like a few couple minutes added to the start of it. It's pretty much the pilot.
But that does introduce us to my personal favorite character, Dragon, Atticus.
I love him too.
Oh my god,
Ernie Hudson.
He's wonderful. Honestly, Dragon, in the pilot, he was the one that sold me. Just the idea of this like regal dog who also has very dog-like tendencies. It's a simple joke, but it's an easy joke to make work right, and they do it right.
I'm 100% with you. Atticus is also the other favorite character of the show for me as well. I can't.
I'm going to give you a comparison that I just kept having in my mind throughout this show when I was watching Atticus, okay?
All right.
He's very much a more regal version of Weasel.
Oh, right, of I Am Weasel, right.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I Am Weasel, yes. You know what I mean? Kind of like the pompous attitude, but still kind of very much a do-gooder by nature, and still sort of restricted by his body. Anyways.
I did also see a bit of a similarity to like a Michael Dorn sort of voice with, with kind of what Ernie Hudson's doing here. But you're right; he's absolutely just these. Of course, it's Atticus, the God, King of King Corgi, uniter of the Kerrigans and the Penbrooks. Grand uniter. He's a peacemaker of a dog, and this the design's really appealing. He wears this little crown. He's got this big regal presence to him. I think he gets the funniest dialogue. He's Atticus in one are some of the best supporting characters I've seen in a while. Man, they're the cell from the pile, and it just transfers here so well. And that Atticus is involved. And I feel some of the funniest gags are in this episode. Where I think the outside gag still cracks me up so much.
Come on, boy. You want to go outside? Oh, yes, no, I do not want to. No,
outside?
Yes, maybe outside, maybe, no, yes, I want to go outside, yes.
Adorable. And again, Ernie Hudson Ernie Hudson was probably the best performance in the whole thing with this character, because again, it made you care at the same time as made you laugh.
And this character, we'll jump to it in a bit, folks, but oh my god, this character easily has the most dramatic moment in the show.
He does. He absolutely does. And of course, we have like the two proud. All these illogical dog gags are hysterical. Of course, like the whole you should know. I want to accompany you on this journey. Tulip the literate. This Tulip the literate. Pretty funny. But you should know. There's something you should know about corgis. We're too proud to be carried. Of course, like what does that mean? Basically, she's walking him across the river, which is like 2 feet deep. he's just squirming around. It's like, let me go. No, stop squirming around. It's hysterical. Anyway,
yeah, so that's the great joke about him. He's got like the regalness of Mufasa, but the realistic quirks of an average dog.
Yes. So, of course, the world building within the Corgi car is really good. The society and everything, how it's built up, or like they lay in sunbeams all day, that sort of that sort of thing. I love this. So again, the theme of the episode is, kind of like is not being in a rush. It's about being patient. Patience is definitely key here, because the idea is at the start of this episode, Tulip, she's trying to rush. She's trying to get a head start. Like if I really just kind of cut out all the misadventures, if I just kind of power on through some of these cars, perhaps we'd be able to kind of get home faster.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in doing so, we go through the Monster Mash car, the duck car, and the duck car is ridiculous. You're like, can you help me find my original eyes? There's all sorts of ridiculous. And of course, Atticus is just kind of the one. See, of course, the one saying, this car is really fun. I gotta get going. Of course, educating her in the ways of, you just gotta slow down now and again. You have to basically enjoy the adventure versus racing to the end. Like, don't do that. And of course, we get introduced to one of the menaces of the season. We get introduced
to god,
the Stuart.
Oh, I mean, oh wow. Dragon, this is about as intimidating as any Miyazaki villain. I mean, and Miyazaki is totally like what struck my mind about this, kind of like that sort of like bizarre, almost perverse mix of technology and nature kind of colliding with each other.
Yeah, I love like the vague steam. I don't know if steampunk's the appropriate term, but it's like gas power, because it has like the blue flame. It's like the blue pilot light for the eyes, and it has like a kind of a clicking mechanism, almost like an old telegraph or something. It's really very interesting in design when you lift off the mask and everything, but it is like all the coils and all like the tentacles and everything. It's really trippy. It's just really scary looking. I love it. It has machine guns for eyes. It's terrifying. So of course, the main idea. So we introduced the Steward. We introduced the idea of the orbs, and of course, the grand mystery of it all is that Steward is collecting these orbs, and of course, we learn why she's collecting these orbs. That's why the Corgi car, Corginia, I believe it's called. That's why Corginia, so regal. That's why Corginia is kind of falling to pieces there because again she's taking key parts of the information that kind of program the car.
Yeah.
So let's see. I also include it doesn't harm one. We learn why by the very end why she doesn't do that. And of course, the unsolvable door guy. We got to talk about the unsolvable puzzle door, which of course is okay. How do I solve? Okay, well, how do we open the door? Okay, well, first you go up to the door. Yeah, then you turn the knob. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Our greatest
I've been working on this my whole life, trying to figure out this conquest
for decades. Oh god. Okay.
Okay, let's see. Episode 4, The Cat's Car. Oh, man. All right, Jerry, I just want to say, like, episodes 1 through 3.
Tiki.
Oh, I'm sorry. Crystal Car. My bad.
What would Pearl think?
Oh, God.
Okay, yeah, the Crystal Car. So this one isn't my favorite.
I'm just excited to get to the Cat's Car.
Me too. It's my favorite. It's my favorite too. We'll get there.
And this one is, I kind of echo your sentiments. It might be my least favorite. It feels like, I mean, I get why it's there. I like the message behind it with the, like a song doesn't have to be emotional on the outside to touch you, in a meaningful way, kind of like you plays on nostalgia, what you have and what's comfortable to you. I like all that. I like the message of it, essentially. But man, it feels meandering, Dragon. It's the only episode of the show that feels like it meanders.
I hear you. I do. Basically, what's really the cool thing about the episode, I do love the non-verbal crystal inhabitants. That's really cool. Using Word Up as the song's pretty fun. The one that kind of helps save the day. And I like the relatable quality. Again, this is the thing we got to talk about the show for here, man. Where it's like, we're talking about songs that you may like, but you're not proud of. And she's so embarrassed when the song gets used. And it was about the personal connect to the happy family. And I love Tiki, especially on the rewatch, like the third watch, it really comes clear. Okay, each episode does systematically again evolve her in the journey of the divorce parallel. So again, like she does grow within each episode. So of course we're putting forward the song here, which of course is going to be kind of called back to the next episode we get to, that sort of stuff.
Sure.
I love the giant at the end. The giant at the end is a wonderful payoff. And they do all this, and they have this giant this giant crystal monster guy who just walks by, just pulls out like a little crystal stairwell. And like a little key from a little locket around his neck, and he unlocks the door, and he waves goodbye. He gives like the okay size. I love that. He's always so pleasant. Like did all that. He's like, hey, be silly, have fun, and then says, hey guys, thanks. He just goes off, and that's the end of the episode. I love it. But what the episode does have going for, I should mention, is there's kind of a science or logic versus emotion angle, which does factor into the core of the crux of it does feed into what the conflict is by the end. Sure. Logic versus emotion. And it was really cool. I saw like when Tulip makes her little logic web of like trying to figure out what's the emotional song, what song can we use to get out of here. All those themes foreshadow the mystery. Think about it. Sadness over death. Love. Basically, you can kind of circle all the elements that would feed into the emotional song. Like sadness over a death, love, unrequited love, reunited love, and a parent's love for a child, and also basically all of them but one, all of them except like a celebrity trying to say something about a cause. Everything but that one, but everything else does factor into the themes of what we're about to see in the next episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so what I was going to say, Dragon, is episodes 1 through 4 kind of feel like they function as sort of like an introductory point. And then from there, I feel like the episode very much just kind of kicks into overdrive. And each and every installment of the show from this point out is just really, really killer.
I think 5 and 8 are probably the best ones.
I think you might be right about that, but I think all of them definitely have a lot of strength going for it, like on a creative, conceptual level.
Yeah, this is an excellent halfway point. I love it. So the Cat's Car, it's kind of the. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I didn't say anything.
That's right. Okay, so I love this. Basically, we illustrate the danger of the cat as well as this is the big introspective tulip episode. Where one we have remember the beginning of this one has I think this one has probably the most ridiculous start of all of them if you really think about it. We have like the dinosaur playing baseballs. It's like, we'll never forget you. And, oh man, I already forgot his name. Now, tell you, what do you interpret that story to be? Because this seems like a baseball team of dinosaurs, and apparently they help the T Rex. Which I want to say it's like a journey of like helping the T Rex conquer its handicap of having tiny arms and being the best baseball
You
player
know,
who
I
ever
like
lived.
that idea. I like that idea. It's kind of like an inspirational sports movie kind of thing.
Where's that sports movie, man? I watched that. Anywho,
Maybe that
so
could be the next Jurassic Park movie.
oh, there you go. All right. So here's something we introduced that really has a great payoff. So we introduced the moving car this episode. So the idea that the cars can move
Yes,
over
yes, I
each other.
love this, Dragon. This is like a game changer for me. This was just kind of like it sort of just turned everything on its head. It was just kind of like, okay, like now what are we going to do? Like the rules have definitively changed here. It's not just from getting to point A to point B. It's really about just kind of traversing this puzzle. Oh man, that was such a cool reveal for me.
And what's so cool about it too is that again, T on the rewatch, this is part of the conductor's plan. That car, the conductor needs that car to be the next one that she goes into. Therefore, it's moved up and moved right there, of course, because that's the cat's car. And given like the distraction that needs to happen here needs to unfold again, it's all part of a plan. So it's not just doing that by accident; it's doing it for a very specific purpose that you don't know until you're going through it. Until you're going through it all.
Mhm.
So of course we have the VHS tape trap, which is ingenious. Where it's kind of like it's very much surprisingly, I didn't see this coming. I was watching. There's very much like a perchance the dream layer to this season of the show. It's very much a big perchance the dream layer to the mystery, or more accurately, like the VHS tape in itself works like the Black Mercy. The Black Mercy being like a Kryptonian plant that attaches to Superman. Basically, you live out your best fantasy, but to get out of it, you have to relive your work. You basically have to destroy your own fantasy to get out of the place. Remember?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So it's very much kind of like a cross between. I think the season overall is kind of perchance the dream when we get to the end of things, but it's very much kind of like a Black Mercy in the moment here. Anyway, what I'm getting at is, we play with how each of us we recontextualize our memories, or like sometimes you think something's going to be a little bit rosier than it was, or maybe not so much, and we always kind of put our experience. And basically, memories and experience are kind of two different things. We kind of they kind of interweave on each other in a sense. Anyway. So let's talk about some of the visuals, man. So some of the cool visuals within that.
I mean, yeah, just generally speaking, I feel like the coolest part of this episode is how we kind of get that weird little like in between world in the tape where we're seeing all the other memories, you know.
Yeah, I love the. So of course we see the road trip. Of course, that's where the song got introduced. We go to Dolph World. Dolph. Oh God, Dolph
I
World.
can very much relate to Dolph Roll Dragon. This is oh man. So I live about 40 minutes away from a Six Flags that used to be a theme park called Marine World, and it didn't have any rides. It just had animal experiences and, like dolphin shows and killer whale shows and stuff like that, wildlife in the back, aquariums and the like. And anyways, so I remember as a kid these dolphin shows being like packed with people, Dragon, packed with people, just like uproarious applause. Just that it was just a big spectacle. And Dragon now.
Hello. Sorry about that, folks. Minor little hiccup there. Let me pick up where we left off there. The fact of the matter is, folks, it's really yeah. I'm sorry. With Dolph World, Dolph World is
Hey,
hello?
hey, hey. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Okay, so you were
Okay, so
saying
yeah,
okay.
really quick, what I was getting at with the Marine World thing is, as an adult, when I go to that Dolphin Stadium, the same Dolphin Stadium that was really, you know, popping as a kid, it was just a spectacle. Man, it's depressing. I mean, not only does it have the shade of Blackfish going over it, which I think is kind of inevitable, But I mean, there's like maybe a dozen people in the whole theater, the theater that's built to hold like a few thousand people. I mean, Dragon, that's why this scene kind of like the dolphin scene really hit me hard, because it's very much a parallel to an experience I have in my real life.
Oh yeah, and you know how much I like Blackfish, so I was definitely picking up with the parallels there. Of like, oh yeah, and the whole just look at them in their natural state, and of course we see them all just performing in front of a crowd, and of course later on the reveal of like when we hear the harsh reality of, oh man, Dolph World was not as sunny as it kind of covers both sides of Blackfish.
Dragon, where was this intense divorce stuff in Jurassic World? You know,
Yeah.
kind of makes me think that maybe the parents should have gone with the kids. Then maybe we would have gotten some scenes like this and gotten some actual emotion out of that subplot.
Quite possibly.
Anyways,
But yeah, on the whole, I mean, again, we have all these striking visuals and how they are recontextualized and how we feel the memories, and I like how we visualize that, where the static is overtaking her. I love that idea. Basically, the more enamored you become with the falsehood, with the with the fake memory, the recontextualized memory, the static kind of overtakes your body, and that's kind of how you know.
yeah,
It's really neat, and also it's. So we have that, and we have these very real conversations, and kind of we get to see the seeds of divorce. Where again, when they go to the water, when they go to Dolph World, and of course we have the reality of like, oh man, it's going to be one sluggish dolphin. We find out, hey, what happened to the other marine life? And of course, oh god, implying that either it's hurt somebody or it's gone. Most likely, it is dead.
oh, oh boy.
They're being really clever. Of course, they made a Titanic joke in the last one too. Like, when the blimp went down, then they basically did Titanic with blimps in the last episode. So that sounds a little bit more entertaining than Titanic, being frank. But bear in mind, it might have been the same thing. Regardless, when being out here, I like these real conversations where you have like a very real argument about well, she needs glasses. Well, why didn't you take her to the optometrist? And of course, you get the seeds and her, and the idea of like she was there and she was hearing this conversation, but not fully picking up on it until it's kind of like being put in front of her as it is right now. And of course, we have the big conversation, the big parents breaking the sad ground shattering, earth shattering news to the kid about we're getting a divorce. And I think the best line in the whole thing, Tiki, was separation as a delusion. The idea is like who you're trying to kid. Essentially, the paraphrase is like, who are you trying to kid? Separation basically means you're going to get divorced.
Yeah, for sure. That whole scene was just very much. I don't want to speak too much of my personal experience, Dragon, but suffice to say, I am very much a child of divorce, and so obviously, all this divorce stuff very much resonates with me. And here's the thing about my parents' divorce, Dragon. It was so messy that I didn't even get the luxury of having a conversation about it. Like, for me, the best I got was just kind of sitting down and being like, yeah, some nights you're going to live with mom, some nights you're going to live with dad. That's just, how it is. You know how we fight all the time. It's just kind of an inevitability at this point. So, Dragon, in my divorce, I very much kind of like had to grow up quickly in that situation. I was 12 when it happened, anyways.
Anyway, so I feel what we have here is basically the big theme in terms of Tulip's arc for the whole series, for the whole season is this episode's about working through pain after you've opened yourself up to it. So think about it. The last episode, again, she kind of was re-experiencing a memory. She opened up a memory, opened up a little bit of a vulnerability with the whole the Word Up song, and the minute she opened herself up to it, she then fully experiences the memory here. So she's working through the pain of it all. And then we're going to rebuild, then we're going to kind of evolve her in the next episode. So that's kind of where we're going here storytelling wise. It's really smart. It's a really smart move.
Right.
And, big thing, conductor. We meet the conductor this episode.
Do we? Is it this episode?
Yeah. Remember at the end of this, okay, it's the ideas, they move on. And she's like, wait, because, she snapped out of it way earlier because she's supposed to stall her there until the conductor shows up. And of course they leave and they're like, we don't like you. And of course they leave, which leaves the cat to answer to the conductor, who reveals this really big, imposing, cloaked, robotic figure.
I love the design of this thing, Dragon. Oh my god. Dragon, dare I say it's a little bit Henson-esque?
In a sense, yeah. I can see the Henson levels there. There's a bit of Henson there. And basically, and for a moment, again, the cat has done something. The cat has kind of done something awful to Tulip this episode, and you feel sympathy for the cat, just given how terrifying the conductor is, and how, that the cat almost gets killed, and by the same token, that her room is destroyed. And she values. This is a very Henson-like moment. It's a very Dark Crystal moment, almost, or like a labyrinth, whatever you want to fill in there. Where basically, it's like, not my things, not my wonderful collection of things she's collected from all the cars. They're being completely destroyed. Don't fail me again, or else she's a goner. So I guess
that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's just a very effective villain introduction right there for sure.
Exactly. So Tulip, she's going on her journey there. She's not looking at her hand anymore because she's just kind of decompressing. You threw this at me here. I didn't want this thrown at me again. She's kind of evolving from the pain at this point. So she's going through a transitional phase halfway through her story right now. And I feel the conductor is someone who, just going to talk about a little bit here, is someone who's rejecting change. These are the stories about rejecting change. The conductor is kind of a symbol of kind of like, basically, the idea of like someone who is trying to reject this change of like, Tulip is changing things on the train, therefore I can't allow that, therefore I want to keep Tulip out of my hair, I want to put Tulip back in her seat. Of course, we have the steward saying, go back to your seat, as in go back to where you started your journey there, like don't mess with things. And kind of the symbol of the infinitesimal is that you're never going to change. Is it that you'll never get out of this loop? Therefore, it's like the conductor is kind of is synonymous with the infinity train of it all, I suppose. Okay, episode 6.
All right, episode 6. This is one of my personal favorites here. The unfinished car.
I thought you might.
This is where the storytelling really starts to come into high gear here. Of course, 1-1 is very unsettled by this car. We have Dragon. I'm sorry, I don't want to skip over any details here. So what?
Well, we started in the spa car, but you're talking about the turtle, right?
Yeah, I want to make sure that we talk about every car. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Anyway, okay, well, we start with the spa car. Spa car is awesome. So they basically get this. So we had like a really kind of earth shattering episode with Tulip there. Now she's like, okay, we're gonna go to a spa. We're gonna relax, and they come out of that. And we have this. So then we go to the essentially. I don't realize I have really name. It's the turtle car, and the turtle car features Aloysius the Third, played by Matthew Rhys, who's from The Americans, and he's going to be in the Mr. Rogers movie. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, so of course, basically we have royal buddies going on here between Aloysius and between I'm sorry, I'm just kind of realizing now they're both A names. You have Aloysius and you have Atticus kind of becoming buddies. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Just back to my point. I just love the unfinished quality of this world and how it upsets 1-1, and we really get kind of like this fable of things being your fault and not your fault. We get Tulip kind of trying to talk 1-1 down and really relating it to herself, even though she's not really realizing that she's relating it to herself, not just yet. So yeah, good stuff.
Oh, yeah, and sorry, I misinterpreted. Here's the thing: I don't know why I felt kind of stupid here. It's not the turtle; it's the unfinished car, which is the whole point of the thing. I felt kind of stupid just now, but you know what I mean. It's of course we have the college location kind of put in the play here as well. A little breadcrumb for the trail as well. 1-1's. I loved how, again, with the layers of 1-1 here, that 1-1's programming is taken aback by the unfinished car, which again is kind of a foreshadow to like this other unfinished car that we're going to get to. So again, his program is kind of taking effect. Where again, why would 1-1 be bothered by that? And of course, we know why later on why he's bothered by that. It's really neat. Again, it's kind of his programming taking over. We kind of have a parallel between Tulip having trouble going through the kind of adapting to the change as well as 1-1. That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, okay, let's see. That brings us to episode 7, then.
All right, let's see. Episode 7 that's the reflection one, right? I forget exactly what it's called.
Yes, that's the Chrome car.
The Chrome car, right. This has a very, very cool, clever payoff to it, but we'll build to that. Of course, it's very much a reflection episode, kind of building off the idea of the reflection of yourself being its own identity. Dragon, I'm just going to call this out there for any Nintendo Switch fans out there. This episode very much reminded me of Celeste. Dragon, that's a game where you are an emotionally troubled teenage girl climbing a literal mountain trying to solve your problems. Meanwhile, a mirror image version of yourself is chasing you. And it's very storytelling driven, but also hard platforming. Regardless, this episode very much reminded me of that. So this episode also kind of inhibits some Steven Universe qualities by really kind of deep diving into the psychological implications of what would be a villain, and really getting them to turn around and see the light, and really help them out along the way. So that was all very good.
I love how, again, I can't get over the progression here of things where, the last episode was kind of like, was, again, we had two psychological, we've had two, and kind of with this, three psychological episodes in a row, but they all feel very different. We had kind of introspection with the cat's car. We had kind of like kind of a psychological compulsion with the unfinished car, and that you basically it's being resistant to change. And here we have the kind of the physicalization of it all, with the idea of like like Tulip is self-reflective, but she's also literally self-reflective, so it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part of this episode that we got to talk about, the Chrome Police. I love the Chrome Police.
Oh my god, yes. Oh,
this is the spin-off I want so much.
Their design is just amazing. I love the voices. Of course, Ben Mendelsohn is just, he kills it.
And Bradley Whitford, so a little bit of a Get Out connect here, and again the whole like melting into the floor, that kind of a little bit of that.
There's just there's so much going on with them in one episode, Dragon. They steal the show in one episode. They really do.
Very Twilight Zone-y concept, just the world building of this whole car here really is just the trippy Chrome reflections of it, all the visuals, the two worlds, and this is the logic of the world where, again, the Chrome Police are calling, have like slivers, basically kind of the shattered reflection idea that she's like not she's not following the program of the credo of the reflections, therefore she must be sanded down, use sanders instead of guns. And oh my goodness, I love everything about this. They have to wear skins to cross over. That idea is rocks. It's so cool. Oh god! My favorite. I love the support team. By the way, the support team. Basically, as the cops are called, they also have like the emergency services called. So basically, Atticus's reflection as well as 1-1's reflection.
Yes.
As they're panicking on the other side, the response team comes, and before we build up the intro of our awesome Chrome Police, but they're put on gurneys and given like the little little fire blankets and given like hot cocoa to calm their nerves, and are taken away. I love it. So pleasant. And again, I love Bradley Whitford's the good cop, and again, I just want to see that show so much. I'm going in circles here, but it's awesome. So the idea, so again, Tulip is rebelling against herself here. She wants out of the status. Again, she wants out of the status quo. Of course, Tulip's arc has been kind of becoming okay with not being within her old status quo. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of in a sense, I guess by the end of this, with Tulip here, she's kind of she allows the break in status quo versus like what the cops are all about here. Like, let's extinguish this new life. No, embrace the new life. Don't extinguish it. Don't say no. Allow it to happen. Of course, we have the really clever solution with the Swiss Army multi-tool knife thing.
I love that. That was such a clever payoff.
Yeah. And by the way, the melting effect too. How creepy is the melting effect? The idea is like, so when the Bradley Whitford when the Bradley Whitford Chrome cop, he's on the surface, and basically Atticus is bitten to his head and everything, basically damaged his skin equipment. By the way, remember when they remove their heads and just have like these little metal ball bearings? Oh, it's so cool looking. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out over it. My point is, when he bites into the head and basically he's trying to run on the top side on kind of the regular surface, he's melting into the other dimension. Therefore, he can't. It's so Salvador Dali-esque. I don't know. It's cool. And of course, the pencil car. Pencil car is so mundane. I love it.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, oh, geez, you really picked. This is not the best universe to explore the potential of the Infinity Train. Like, this is the most boring train you could have possibly seen for the first time. Are you kidding? I love it. Can I open a banking account? Can I get a credit card?
I
And
was
just to put a pin in the speculation here a little bit, I definitely think that Mere Tulip has the potential to come back in season 2, even if Tulip herself doesn't.
I would agree.
All right.
Oh, by the way, when we end on 3, so the big number reveals. She hasn't looked at her number in a while, and it's all the way down to 3. Very, again, I thought that was so clever. Again, every time you think you know something, the episode kind of subverts it. Where again, it's like 3 episodes left, 3 numbers left. Okay, she's getting to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Can I play with that in the next 2 episodes? All right, let's get episode 8.
Right. Oh man, the ball pit train, the ball pit car. Oh.
Ah, guys, and this is the
So
other
tell
great
me
one.
this didn't hit you with some nostalgia, Dragon.
Oh my god, yes it did. It's so much. Now these things don't exist where I'm at least.
No. Dragon, I used to have a place in my town, maybe like a half a mile from where I lived, called Tube Town. And Tube Town was essentially exactly like what you see here, just a big maze of, Chuck E. Cheese style tubes. It was way bigger than the average Chuck E. Cheese, Dragon. It was pretty awesome as a kid. Did you ever have a place like that, Dragon? Basically like a big Chuck E. Cheese
I had
tube area?
I had the McDonald's play place. That was kind of my touchstone for this sort of thing.
All right, fair enough. Was it a big play place? Like how big was it?
Well, I mean, let's see. I don't know, maybe not huge. I mean, I think it was at the Chuck E. Cheese. I've only gone to Chuck E. Cheese like so many times in my youth, so maybe like 2-3 times total. But I don't remember. I know they had like one of those. I don't know. It was that was bigger than the McDonald's one. The McDonald's one was familiar. Like I've been on that one many a time though. So that was like it was. It may not have been extensive, but it was cool. It was like kind of like it's like the size of a fort, of a generous fort.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, I mean, the ball pit had tons of nostalgia. I hear you absolutely. So this episode's kind of the big low of lows, under a very happy-go-lucky start.
It really is, man. It really is.
They already had me. I'm like, okay, we've been through a lot here, and again, this is all I'm just having a good time, and then we amp things up, and we keep amping it up. But I love this too. We start the episode with the business cars. We start the business car, and it's like I declare bankruptcy, and that's how they slide all the way down to the door.
That was fun.
So we go into, essentially we have this unassuming fun play place adventure with khaki bottoms,
and the whole thing is just kind of like a play place obstacle course.
like no stakes at all.
Like, okay, do a standard tic-tac-toe. Like, all right, let's see. I'm just gonna put.
They're gonna build statues
for one of the other 2 X's.
They're gonna make a statue of her like that. It's every. It's a mundane paradise, one could say. So of course. It's of course also in the arc of Tulip here. Tulip's now says, "Yeah, I think I'm going to go home instead of going to Oshkosh." She's grown over the passage of time. Of course, she's figured well the camp's probably over at this point. Because again, the idea is like months have passed at this point, so that's like the one nitpick I have with the whole show. If I'm being honest, we don't acknowledge the passage of time by the end of things, so it's just kind of a little strange. But I guess it's not. They don't really address it. There's not really any place.
Let's do the math on it. So, assuming that it's 1 year. Okay, so they say 7 months later, right?
Yes.
So I would say she's been in the car. She's been on the train for. She's been on the train for 5 months. For 5 months.
Well, that's fair. What I mean is, like, we don't acknowledge it. That's the problem.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Like, think about it though. Like, like in 7 months, it rolls around to the next year with the video game design camp. And that's 7 months to the day she got off the train, so that must have meant that she spent 5 months on the train.
Not bad.
All right.
Anyway, okay, let's see. So we reestablish, the growth and the friendship between Tulip and Atticus. Specifically, Atticus. He's he's developed a true friendship more than just kind of like an alliance. Like he's developed like you're my friend
Shadow
here.
Dragon, as soon as we saw that conversation with Tulip and Atticus, I was worried. And then once Atticus kind of like stepped up to be like, no, this is my honor. I'm going to defend you. This is my fight. You run. I'm like, oh God, Atticus, something really bad is going to happen to him, isn't it? Like, I kind of had my guard up when it came to that dragon.
Okay, Tika, I got 2 words for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Jiggle wiggle.
Oh God.
So I love the jiggle wiggle. Not only is just ridiculous, but here's 2 things. Okay, one ridiculous and one just like dramatic. Okay, the ridiculous thing, of course, is that the jiggle wiggle. They're basically the big adventure at the start is like we're gonna take the jiggle wiggle and bring it back to the location. Of course, location essentially is like a little prize area, and like for for fulfilling the mission, you can take any prize you want. Jiggle wiggle, excellent choice. So they did all of that to get the very thing they spent all that time bringing it to. It's adorable. It's like the perfect mission. And then I love the symbol of, okay, so we now re-explore the fun terrain that we just had. It was kind of a warm-up. For now, everything, we've gone from just kind of a happy, almost McDonald's like play place to kind of like the climax, one of the climaxes of Stranger Things within like the little play, the little fun house from Stranger Things season
absolutely.
3, where now everything's trying to kill you and it's very tense and it's very like they have to of course when the minute the jiggle wiggle finds it slips out of her hand and finds its way into the claw of the steward and gets smashed. It's like, oh God. So terrifying! No, all youthful hope is lost. Then, of course, the steward reemerges. There's peril. There's stakes, and then of course, the conductor shows up. Oh my goodness!
Oh boy!
So the conductor shows up, and the conductor ain't playing games. I love that the conductor saying, and this is when the conductor got fascinating for him. The conductor's like, "Hey, I just wanted you to." Basically, the conductor tried to give her everything she wanted with the status quo of like, hey, you could have had anything you have ever wanted. Basically, she could have had onion ice cream cake, which is ridiculous, but she could have had it. She could have had everything she should have had her dream reality. This is where we get into the perchance the dream of it all. She could have had anything she wanted to keep Tulip out of the conductor's hair. If you stayed put, you stayed where you were. Like I don't know, probably would have moved her back to like her place with her car or something. For all we know, the point being, she would have been stuck in that tape forever, and she rejected that. And of course, like now I have to make sure because you're undoing things because again, the steward needs to take those orbs. And as long as she's there running into the steward, she won't be getting those orbs. Therefore, it's the problem. So the conductor is really ruthless and lost perspective of. I feel the conductor's truly lost perspective of the conductor's goals here, given what we learned about the conductor in the next episode, where the conductor's lost perspective of its own pain and it's harming her friends without any remorse. And I feel it's like that's how far gone Tulip is at risk of being if she didn't move on from things,
Yeah.
So, oh God, how dark did you?
It's definitely supposed to be a parallel there for sure. I mean, especially with what we learn about the conductor in the next episode. It's very much because at this point, it's very much the conductor is kind of like a Miyazaki style, like eternal villain who really has no rhyme or reason other than to just maintain order. You know what I mean? But by the next episode, we're going to get to learn far more about this character that's really going to kind of blow the lid off.
Precisely, and Tika, tell me how the staging didn't. Were you freaked out by what happened with Atticus? Because initially, before we even had
I totally was, Dragon. I totally was. Absolutely, I thought he was dead.
I know.
Sure.
Initially, I thought they were going to go the Alita route here, where it's like, it's like I love the framing too. It's a little homage to National Lampoon's. National Lampoon's, of course, is a magazine before it was, before it was the movies, before it made all the movies and everything. Of course, one of the most famous covers in all of magazine Tiki is the magazine cover. They hold a gun to a dog's head, and it says, "If you don't buy this magazine, we'll shoot this dog."
Oh God!
And they mimic the framing of that exactly. Basically, Atticus looks to camera as basically the blaster is put to his head, I guess. And then of course, like we cut away, bam! It's like, oh God! I was like, oh my God! Did they just do what I think they did? It's a little worse what they did to him actually, because Atticus, no, he's not dead, but he's turned to an unholy dog roach.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like you see the crayon fall, you see the body. For a period of time, you're just like really convinced that the unthinkable just happened there, Dragon.
Yeah, given it's a character we've grown to love and just be so entertained by, it's like, no, not Atticus, no. And but it is. It's seriously. It's got so and it, already you're hooked on that. And of course, we then make it even more horrific. Where no Atticus has been turned this unholy creature that she faced in the very first episode. Now that basically, I love the hopeless ending that we end on with episode 8, where basically he's caught in one of the play place things. Basically caught behind, he's stuck behind glass, and the one's going up. It's okay to cry. And it's just so hopeless and sad. Like, oh my god, how is Tool? What's going to happen now?
Yeah, very much. I would say very much probably the best episode of the season.
Possibly. Again, the only rival would probably be 5, but it's you're right. Okay, that brings us to episode 9, the big flashback episode. Otherwise, the past car.
Oh boy! All right, so I got to admit, Dragon, I kind of got some Ready Player One vibes from this, but not in a bad way. More in kind of like this is like a more tasteful, like kind of more depressing version of Ready Player One.
Yep, and the only car they don't really, the only episode title in which they don't go to the location. Remember, it's like it's the past car. Therefore, they're not going to like a car that's specifically they're not going to a new car. I guess what I'm getting at.
Mhm.
So basically, yeah, we fill in the blanks on the big mystery that is the conductor. At least we think the big mystery that is the conductor. It's kind of half. It's most of the mystery, but again, there's one big pivotal element we're going to learn next episode with who the conductor is. So let's see. So we kind of forged this alliance with the cat yet again, who was kind of basically double crossed by the conductor, and we find there's a way to undo Atticus's transformation, which of course leads to kind of a foray into the past using the VHS tape that belongs to the conductor. And this is really well set. Here's an idea for just a little speculation for the next season. I noticed this on a rewatch where there were multiple tapes that fell when the cat basically when Tulip found her tape. Remember?
Yeah.
Now, according to the cat, each passenger on the train has a tape. Now, bear in mind, all the inhabitants, like they're not passengers, which means they're like other tulips are on this infinite train, which means there's probably like a handful of VHS. Basically, there are probably a handful of passengers on that train that are in Tulip's very situation.
No, you're not wrong. I definitely think that we're going to. Are you saying we're going to follow like a handful of characters and not just the one character? Is that what you're throwing out?
Well, what I'm saying is, at least based on that, there could be there could be like another person. I'm not saying we necessarily need to follow multiples, but we could if we wanted to. I'm saying there's at least that many other people on that train, is what I'm getting at, who might be in more dire straits than Tulip is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, Flash, what do we learn?
Well, oh man, what don't we learn? I mean, we learned that that the conductor actually had, first of all, lots of things. She's a female. She had a dearly beloved husband. They're British. What a twist!
Yep. And by the way,
Dragon.
Game of Thrones town too. Lena Headley, she's playing Amelia, and Matthew Rhys again. Matthew Rhys, he played the turtle. He also, of course, from the Americans and Mr. Rogers. Like Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood coming up, plays Ulrich, the husband. I love a natural relationship. I'm already kind of sold. I'm rooting for these two crazy kids in that flashback. Like, oh man, they're all so precious, making their silly phone calls, and again, like, yeah, it's like tell her we're sopping wet. Like, I don't know, it's cute. Then.
And then the real world just kind of like hits very very quickly into it.
Yep, and I love the misdirect where you think that Amelia's died. At least I thought that until we kind of revealed who was under the before we revealed Amelia was the one who survived. And yeah, it also one can navigate the tape, and that's a little bit of a clue to one's importance and everything. Also, again, all the little details the threads starting to become here, where you see like in the past, Ulrich he ate jam. Of course, jam was a big factor of the turtle episode of the unfinished car where they're sliding on that purple jam.
Sure.
So, of course, here we set up the parallel between Amelia and Tulip. They're both interested in creating things. Tulip with the game design, Amelia with she's inventing things like she knows like how to play a tone that can take control of basically kind of set the dial on a phone so you don't have to pay to make a phone call, that sort of stuff. The point is Amelia's a thinker. And again, we have the sweet love story of the proposal, which is really, it was a really classy move seeing the woman propose. You rarely ever see that. It was really classy the way they did it. I might be sounding close by. What do you mean women can't propose? You rarely see it, though. That's all I'm saying. And just the way that again, basically we're kind of cementing, okay, Tulip learns about Amelia, which means now you're better for knowing that your enemy is not your enemy. Your enemy is a person who has also come from tragic circumstance. Therefore, you've learned about her. It's not just going to be like you can't just go into a situation where, okay, you're going to slay the dragon. You're going to take out the big heavy of the season. It's more complicated than that. People are flawed. People are complex. It's a really great lesson that she learns. And in learning that lesson, all her problems are solved. Dial goes down to 0. Tulip has a way out. She can leave by the end of this episode, but she doesn't, because she has to save Atticus.
Yeah, very good stakes for the final episode, to be sure.
Speaking of which, let's get to it. Episode 10. The Engine!
Yep. Lots of very Steven Universe-esque this episode, dragging kind of the lots of reasoning with the villain, having deep philosophical conversations with the villain, trying to get on their level. You know what I mean?
Yes. Of course, we have the engine symbol is kind of the driving force in the conflict of the season. Of course, everything hinges on the engine. We've been trying to get to the engine the whole time. Of course, very fitting. It's the last episode in itself. But yes, it boils down to everything we've set up with the parallel in the last episode. It really comes full force here, where it's the idea of refusing to accept reality. Again, the perchance the dream of it all is definitely here with Amelia, where we get to see what Tulip could have been in danger of becoming the whole time, where Amelia is pursuing something that is completely unattainable. We've seen that she still can't obtain it. She can't bring back someone that she lost, even if she could remake a car within the life that she left behind. Even if she could remake it, she can't remake Ulrich. Even if she did, it still wouldn't be him. It would be a false. It would be an illusion. And again, one could say it's kind of an infinite punishment. If you can try all you want, all you might, it will never happen. You can try to the end of time, it will still never happen, even if you are the conductor of the train. Very interesting stuff. And basically, of course, she offers the same chance to Tulip, or hey, you can have this too if you want. I can make something for I can make you a car with your parents and everything. And Tulip refuses to accept that fiction. Really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all these infinite possibilities, and you can't bring back one person. It's kind of like it is. It's kind of the ultimate punishment there. Of course, we have the big revelation with 1-1 Tiki.
Yeah, 1-1 is actually the main computer of the ship.
Yeah,
or the train. The train.
Or in other words, he finds his mom.
And he's just kind of been controlling things this whole time, and that's kind of why he's been able to have. I mean, he hasn't been controlling everything this whole time, but that's why he's had the powers to do what he does.
Yeah, he's kind of the MacGuffin of it all, kind of paid off by the end here. We're okay. So the thing everybody's been going after here, we got to get me again. The conductor's been about retrieving 1-1 to make sure 1-1's under lock and key, so he can't get in the way. And the big MacGuffin payoff, it all is, oh my god, not finding his mother. Like the first joke that we had with this character pays off by the end. It's wonderful. So the day is saved. But yeah, it's not like it's a little bittersweet with Tulip. It's a little bittersweet with Tulip having this moment of kind of like saying, well, basically to reveal Amelia's number has gone up infinitely. One could say basically it'll keep going up and up and up because she's done so many things that have kind of set her back emotionally and with her arc, and it's kind of a shame that I feel I feel sympathy for her, especially after learning what kind of brought her to that place in the first place, all that stuff. So it's a little bittersweet. But again, like Tulip's kind of remaining hopeful. Maybe you'll work your number down over time. Again, you can work. Again, basically, now you've accepted kind of the reality that you're in, and not so kind of sophomoric, but not sophomore, not so sophisticated, I guess. But you're like, hey, you don't have to. She's not spelling out for her, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, hey, it's not too late. Basically, it's a never too late message at the end of the day. So we have some heartfelt goodbyes between Tulip and her friends. It's like as it was just revealed, like, oh no, the car was sent down there by the evil conductor, and we were like, oh no, Tulip's never going to get home. We revealed, like, wait a minute, 1-1, these control the train, therefore he's like with the program, he's open up a door anywhere, therefore she has her way home. So it's going to problem solved. But like, I didn't want to say goodbye yet, and it's. I think one of the sweetest lines that they had in this goodbye was with Atticus when Atticus said, I'll be honored to carry the weight, and that way I'll be reminded of you," which is really nice.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, we already kind of talked through the logic of like how long she's going, so we need to go through that again. But she ends up going to camp next time, whenever the next kind of like going to camp next kind of. Again, whether it's a year later or what, the point being, whether it's the next year or however long she's been in there. Because again, I still wonder, like, what are the parents' reactions? Like, oh my gosh, she ran away and she's ran away for months, probably going out of their minds. But again, logic. Or I guess to quote 1-1, I don't know. Anywho, I did notice one thing, Tiki. Did you notice that she didn't have a reflection?
I did. That was definitely a good Easter egg for sure.
Yeah, I mean, did you? Some people interpret it as like, do you think it's a dream? I guess that's a big question I should ask here. Do you think it's do you think the whole thing was like hallucinated, a dream or something, or do you think that's just like to me? I read it as that's proof. I read that's proof that it did happen. Therefore, she doesn't have a reflection in her day to day life because her reflection is kind of well off on her own. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I don't like to think about this kind of stuff that hard. I just kind of take it for what it is.
All right. Okay, let's see. Basically, we're simpatico on as well because I kind of interpret it to be what it is as well. So we're all good there. All right. And a big reveal. I didn't think this was coming back for a second season. But we had that kind of reveal at the very end of things, like coming back for will basically Infinity Train will return. So that's kind of that's a pleasant surprise. I think as we kind of gone over, there's definitely some potential for another season.
I just hope that they don't bring Tulip back onto the train. I think that'd be a big mistake. As long as they don't do that, I'm fine with it.
I agree with the sentiment. I don't understand. I don't know if they're really gutsy and they're really sticking with their guns, then yeah, let's follow another passenger for sure. But I don't know. In terms of like the success rate, they might hinge it all on Tulip though. That's what concerns me. But then again, with Chrome Tulip, you don't know. Maybe they have a way of getting Tulip in there and having just kind of their own show going on. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Final thoughts then.
Yeah, I really enjoy this. It's definitely the best thing that Cartoon Network's put out in quite a while, at least since Over the Garden Wall, and it is very much kind of a spiritual successor to Over the Garden Wall in a way, in many ways. It's very creative. It's got a lot of good character development. It's got a lot of clever animation. It's got some beautifully painted backgrounds. I mean, really, there's of course, it goes in some really bold directions with its storytelling. Really goes to some places that not many kids shows dare to explore, and does it in a really realistic and honest kind of way. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's look for me. It's mind-blowingly good, clever as all get out. You need to again. Cartoon Network needs to toy around with the short form more. We like again, like basically give all these pilots a shot, like the olden days, like during like the God, I'm trying to remember what the oh yeah cartoon days, like that sort of thing. Like like but maybe I forget if Cartoon Fries debuted the pilots or not, but we kind of had a little bit of that going on back there. Basically, they'd vote for the pilots. Like, let's keep that going. Let's keep that influx of these new creative ideas going. Like again, I like let's dispatch of the days of like Teen Titan Go marathons all day because we have nothing left because keep canceling all the other promising shows. Let's just keep it going. Let's keep the creativity flowing, guys. Because I'd be better. I think we'd be in better shape with this. Maybe this would play marathons of and against. Like I don't know, marathons of these short form shows could be a lot of fun. I don't know. But again, Infinity Train, okay, I loved it.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to try again. I'm so like out of tune with these live shows. I forget how to end them. Like, what new animated shows are we talking about next, Dragon? Probably nothing, because there's not all that much on the horizon.
Well, I mean, I know. Okay, well, I guess just to bring up, I mean, the other cartoon, one of the other pilots, like Infinity Train. Infinity Train is one of 3 pilots, and one of those other pilots is on Netflix. Actually, it's another short form show like this. It's 12 Forever.
Oh, I remember that show. Huh.
That's the thing. So, I mean, I've been meaning to get in. I mean, I'll be watching it at some points. I mean, look, I'm not going to make any promises here live on air, but at least I'll be watching. I'll probably bring it up on the movie memoirs if we don't talk about it here. So we'll see how that
I mean,
goes.
I definitely remember that pilot. I remember liking the pilot just fine, so it has potential.
All right. Well, we'll see what goes.
All right. So thanks for watching, folks. We'll definitely be discussing that and a couple other shows on movie memoirs when we get around to it at the end of the month. And in the meantime, we got a ton of Nickelodeon content coming your way, kind of switching gears from Cartoon Network a little bit. So yeah, with that in mind, folks, have a good evening, and see you later.
Going off the rails on a crazy train.